Okay, just knock that countdown out of there because I'm not even sure it's ending at the right time for me. Ooh, lots of people in the chat. Thank you. Hello, Gina.
Hello,
Hello, up
everybody.
there. Hello, Sasha.
I was trying to not wave with one hand only, or it would end up the stream and not
Yeah,
just.
yeah.
Yeah.
Careful about both of us at the same time. Um, yeah, that's a good warning. Don't both of us wave at the same time. So, and Kimberly's waving. Hello, Kimberly.
Yeah,
Um,
it's kidding.
so today's topic, it's about fans. I have mine here. I can because you know me, I don't actually use air conditioning. I use Onlyfans.
That's a perfect one. I loved it.
Okay, so tell me about polyamory, OnlyFans, sexual value. What's going on?
Well, that was an interesting topic I put on the list of our
Mm-hmm.
numerous topics. And it's funny because this is the first week I have not taken notes or prepared. So I said,
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, I think it's a kind of like a natural subject that we can have like that conversation as it goes, whatever
Mm-hmm.
question comes around. So I don't know. I thought it was an interesting, let's say, philosophical question in the
Okay.
sense of human, you know, this social development that we go through, this maybe cultural uh, new revolution on the social culture war,
Mm-hmm.
so many forces into some type of conservatism,
Mm-hmm.
or a type of what we I guess the term is being refused even by the people who create the woke, let's say.
Which term is being refused?
Woke,
Woke is being refused by the people who are being referred
originally
to as
created,
woke.
I guess woke became such a pejorative term
Yeah.
nowadays that the people that would have those positions don't use the term, or would not accept, would not call themselves woke.
Okay. So
So we have these
the
forces of
woke have abandoned wokeness as a
well,
term.
what I'm trying to put here, that I feel like myself, I
Mm-hmm.
have a more center libertarian position of accepting the streams and not positioning myself in any of them. And therefore, I position myself when it comes to those issues. It seems to be taking a position of being to take that position where we have the crossfire and we attacked by both sides as being a degenerate, a leftist, or a conservative right
Ah,
wing, and I'm like,
ah.
no, I'm not, I'm neither of those. I might have a very nuanced position. And
I I usually feel pretty good when people on both sides of extremes are both throwing shit at me. I I
it's a
think
good
I'm
sign.
doing it right then. If both extremes are pissed at me, and now obviously I might just be being wrong in a perverse, horrible way, but I think most of the time, if the center accepts me, but the extremes on the right and left don't, I'm doing it right.
Well, recently I have met people, even like old people, which you would expect them to be more right, or more right wing, or more conservative.
Hmm.
And when I brought up things that are in the news, or that things that are conflicting for
Hmm.
me in the sense of free speech, as cancel culture, canceling books, or infiltration or entrism of certain gender race theories being taught in schools,
Uh-huh.
in public schools, then some um, my experience was to hear someone that is more of in the left saying, wow, you're a right wing, might be a conservative. And I was like, not really. I'm just trying to find where is the, you know, uh, the right
Are they
position,
dismissing you because you're on the right and just saying, I'm
that
not
I
gonna pay
could
attention
be
to
on
you?
the right, or of course I'm on the right from their position, but not that
Okay.
I'm the right, right? I don't know if you understand me. It's
I
like
do. I
this,
get it.
yeah, this scale of being in the center, being seen by someone on the left as a right wing, but I'm not. And so,
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not for banning things, for example.
Yeah, I've heard of the concept of the left pole or the right pole. From that position, all other positions seem like the opposite.
It feels like I have not used this term for a while, but the horseshoe theory, that the
Yep.
left and right, they are closer together, and I feel I'm down there on
Yeah.
this center, more right but libertarian, and being misunderstood by both sides,
Yeah. Yeah.
and trying to be
I see it like a
sometimes even the
three-dimensional thing.
bridge.
Sort of like
You
there's a triangular handkerchief, and down at the bottom you've got
the
the
pendulum, yes.
individualists, and then the authoritarians on both the left and the right. They just tie into a knot behind your head.
So I think uh, this discussion could be even going a little bit more intellectual than the people jumping on, waiting for us to just talk about sexual value, polyamory in times of OnlyFans,
Okay.
and you know,
We definitely
a
need to talk about sexual
new
value.
liberation,
No,
right?
no, pardon?
It's a new liberation of
Okay.
culturally speaking, just like happened in the 60s, 70s, and people got to contraceptives and condoms, and
Mhm.
sex became something more casual. You don't need to get married virgin anymore. You can
Mhm.
avoid being pregnant or getting a disease, and permit yourself a bit more, and get
Mhm.
samples, because I think that is a healthy way
Okay.
to search for a sexual partner, for a loving relationship, to have options, to try things, then that uh, the plastered idea of that you're gonna have an arranged marriage, or find someone at first time, in the first sight, and it works. It's kind of like a fairy tale story almost. I would say. So and that, I think it's probably people that are more conservative, or people that are religious. I have friends that we've talked about this, and they have that more strict, like, oh, I got married virgin, and I don't tell people to do this, but I tell them my story, and I think this is more valuable to have one partner for your whole life. And I was
Mhm.
like, well, I totally disagree, because life is something much more realistic than to find one person and
Okay.
be happy forever. um, and also, I don't know, some people were more into that thing where feelings or souls or whatever, this connection, then to have different experiences, and that becomes something very personal. And that's why I think, in the end, we just want to be all free to do whatever we want.
That's the libertarian way, or the anti-authoritarian way. I agree. Want to be free to make my own choices to the
The only
degree
way
that
to be happy.
to the degree that my swinging my fist doesn't contact your face. I want to swing it around all I want. Yeah. So defining terms in the topic. Uh,
Okay.
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
What is OnlyFans, and why do we care about that?
Oh, good question. Well, I think in the discussion, when it comes feminism versus some type of sexism that some people say, or misogyny that exists still in groups of uh, brotherhoods, sisterhoods, this that previous war of sexes we mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a lot of people, influencers, and a lot of people that just have, well, I would say, not knowledge about the OnlyFans, how it works and how you can use it. But a lot of people know that most of people use for selling kind of a sexual content.
Okay.
even if it's not exclusive for that, and how that is still for, let's say, 2022, when you can pretty much be whatever you want,
Mm-hmm.
identify whatever way you want, is still seen as, oh, something denigrating,
Mm.
or that the sexual liberation never really happened in the sense of the sexism towards women, I would say.
Never really happened. You mean it didn't complete all its goals?
Well, the sexual value imposes a lot of this accepted difference and prejudice that we
Okay.
have towards women in comparison of men when it comes to sexual behavior.
Okay. So the sexual value in this case is the social preference or enforcement of sexual norms. That's the sexual value you're talking about, not the uh, amount that something is worth to me, but instead you're talking about the normative choice of whether somebody should be allowed to do this or that.
Well, I feel like people are allowed to do whatever they want. It's not
Mhm.
that they are free from, I would not say consequence, because of course consequences are a part of it, but the judgment, the social judgment, is still much harsh on women
Mm.
than men. And in times of OnlyFans, we still, like, my experience, because I
Mhm.
have one,
Mhm.
and was to hear a lot of people with judgment of my husband having some type of possession over my body, and how would he allow me to do such a thing.
Okay, so they were assuming that that your husband would uh, not like it or would somehow be cheated or have some loss. Is that what I'm getting?
Well, it was more of the idea that men would have some type of right over woman's body and make
Ah,
the last decision, that he should not have let me do it, something like that.
interesting.
Would
Okay.
be a common and kind of a regressive idea that that I saw commonly,
Okay.
you know. And I
So
would say that might
if
be
people's
the one of
values
the
were the
factors.
nature, sorry, you go ahead.
No, and I would say that might be one of the factors that caused me to do it more than to give up on doing, because it becomes that thing of like, you're not allowed to do this. Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay, so now I'm gonna do it, and a lot of it. you know
okay. Okay.
it didn't come from him. Of course, it was not something that he was cheering or like enjoying. I was like, yeah, go do it, because I think,
Okay.
and I don't think it's wrong for many men that I've heard stories of actually encouraging, helping, participating. I guess
Sure.
I would have enjoyed even better if he had jumped on, like, okay, I like this too, it's my type
Hmm.
of thing, and let's do it together. I would probably love it and would do more, which I have thought about quite a lot of quitting recently.
Hmm.
And it comes all about not just sexual value, but it comes a lot of my thoughts of the world that we still live, and my views of being an individualist. And I think it's silly to
Hmm.
be proud or ashamed of anything that my parents, for example, have done,
Hmm.
or my grandparents or other generations. I'm quite an individualist in this way, and I would like my legacy, my career, my
Hmm.
choices not to be weighted on my kids, for example. But now I have kids soon too, and now I judge a lot of that exposition, sometimes even like other types of exposition, on like making too many enemies because we fear for the safety, and a lot of, sometimes are just the thoughts of other people, of our family, friends, people involved, more than, I would say, I care more about my kids now than I cared about other people saying don't do this, and I was like, it's my body, I'm gonna do it. Fuck.
Right, right. In the case where you're taking just the risk on yourself, it's a lot easier. But if
Yeah.
there's long-term effect risk that might happen to them because of social pushback based on things that their mother chose, you want to protect them from that. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. I would say that I would not judge the reasons why people do the OnlyFans, for
Hmm.
example, because I think there are many, including financial,
Sure.
and I think we all humans, we all vain, we all like that little exposition, that appreciation. Um, I would say that it might be sometimes when the relationship is down or you not feeling so appreciated, at least in my case, and
Mhm.
I think a lot of girls might do that as well in
Okay.
that sense. Um, there is
Seeking outside validation.
a lot of grooming, so it's a complicated subject because there are a lot of it's multifactorial, right? There are many factors
Sure.
involving it to cause you to do it, and I think
Whole stack of motivations. Yeah.
there is a work there that I feel like I've done, at least the people that I encountered there. In my case, uh, there were a lot of people that were during that down, or let's say, of the relationship, which is kind of normal in a um, convention. The conventional partners, like a married, you know, monogamic relationship,
Uh,
married. Like everybody that is married know how what is that
yeah.
in reality.
The standard expectation of long term exclusive pairing. Uh huh.
And not only that, but that sex is always down for one side, or you not feeling appreciated, or that you having that
Sex is always
attention.
down for one side. Does that mean that you're saying one person's getting less sex than they want?
Yeah. I think so, but I always heard that more from like the man side. I've always worked had
Hmm.
more boyfriends, man friends, and and worked with more men than women. Had more friends, like in general, to make friends of men more than with other women. And I've always heard that. And then at work, I would hear the girls saying that, "Oh, my husband wants too much sex," and I was like, I'm
Hmm.
kind of like have that pattern. I felt like that during some period. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to just enjoy myself, have my toys,
Hmm.
have some boyfriends online to appreciate,
Okay.
lingerie, my kind of like exhibitionism.
Hmm.
And it was a phase. It was good. It helped me in many ways, I would say.
Hmm.
And it passed kind of like now I just like I'm
Okay.
just about to have a baby, so I just feel like feel round mom, quite of
Hmm.
return toward the family. But I think the interesting and not realistic approach of the OnlyFans conversation, which I have tried to reach people that I've talked before about other subjects, when I saw them just criticizing OnlyFans as a general sign of the degeneration of our
Hmm.
culture and times, how, you know, those leftists that don't have God in their hearts are
Oh
so
boy.
degenerate, and polyamory. And I was like, I've thought about polyamory as an option, and my husband doesn't accept, never accepted, wouldn't. I don't know, maybe one day, but um, I appreciate the people that are able to do it. We have talked about this in my channel specific,
Hmm.
clarifying a lot of how it really works. And I've heard other people that were not in polyamory, went to polyamory, went out of polyamory, and appreciate. I appreciate the people. I think I admire the people that make it happen in a healthy, good way. But it's the same thing. There are good and bad relationships in
Sure.
heterosexual, common, conventional man and woman
Yeah.
couples. The monogamic couple. So uh, and not necessarily just male, could be gays, could be, whatever. It
Yeah,
always, there are good and bad relationships. It's not about something, but what I see a
and
lot,
I
it's
think
that
90% of what can go wrong with interpersonal relationships has nothing to do with gender or how often sex
yeah,
happens or whether
but
it's exclusive or any of those things.
yeah, no, and I think we understand that. That's why I was trying to point out that it's not about the sexuality, the number of people involved. There are good and bad relationships in all the types of relationship, which I kind of see through that, and I think I can see reality with that way, in that way. But I see a lot of people that like to attack the other side, taking the worst example. So I've seen a lot of conservatives that want to say that, you have to follow the Bible, and the Bible says it's men and women and only, of course, because they missed
Except
out the
that it,
part
but
where
it
that the
doesn't.
man can have as many wives as he
Yeah,
can supply provide. So it's natural that the people that quote the Bible
let's be
doesn't
honest.
really read or just pick and choose there.
Let's
But
be honest about the Bible. The non-monogamous relationships outnumber the monogamous ones.
yes. And also that being pointed out as being negative or some type of toxic masculinity. I think people based on vibes saying like, oh yeah, men can have as many women they want, and women, unhappily can only have a husband because the Bible says so. Which I would like no agree with that type of
I
standard or
agree.
rule, right?
Mm-mm, mm-mm. I should not smite the Amalekites. No, I will not smite any Amalekites.
So I don't know. I think it's to have a more nuanced, more realistic approach of the subject is to just recognize that what I would say, not everybody,
Hmm.
might be monogamic or
Hmm.
polyamory, uh, but and then we should be able to accept that difference and figure those
It's called
things
the
out.
group of the children. No, sorry, I'll distract. Uh, so, sexual values, I'm hearing as something that society has and how it's seen overall. OnlyFans is a specific way to monetize outside social relationships or even parasocial relationships. Sorry, I'm introducing a term.
Yeah, yeah,
A parasocial relationship is
yeah.
one where it's a one way. Uh, Somebody could see me and never speak to me, and I could not know who they were. And if they start having an important relationship, then that's parasocial. That's not bad. That's just if it's all one sided, it can be weird. Which is why I like live shows. I like that when people can talk to me directly and I know who I'm talking to, and it reduces the if there is a negativity to parasocial relationships, it reduces that by making it a legitimate normal social relationship. But yeah, so with OnlyFans, sorry, I was in the middle of a list and I went down. I'll come back up. Uh, Social values, OnlyFans, and polyamory. How how does OnlyFans and polyamory mix?
Oh, that is a good question. Maybe it's not accurate, but I would say that a lot of couples, at least, or a lot of people that are in there, if they are just one of the the two of in the couple,
Mm-hmm.
would be open,
Mm-hmm.
open relationships. Sometimes there are like couples that meet
Mm-hmm.
people, and that what I understand, I'm not subscribed to any OnlyFans. No, sorry, I'm lying. I'm actually
At least
subscribed to
subscribe to your own
one.
or something. Go
I
ahead.
was subscribed to. I'm subscribed. I was subscribed to two actually.
Okay.
One, that it's a guy that does really do uh, strip and stuff, but he doesn't post there. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's more of a way to just have contact with clientele,
Mm-hmm.
because it does. It's an interesting concept. It doesn't really do much of a programs. I think not to have sex. It's more of a company escort.
Escort. Okay,
Yeah.
so this
So
guy is
they
using
put
OnlyFans.
they put open sometimes pictures or performances, and then
Yeah.
over there they can sell where they monetize. Sometimes they don't pay for subscription. Mine is
Okay.
pays for subscription, because as you pay, you get access to all the videos and photos
Right.
immediately on
Right.
the wall, let's say.
Mhm.
So it's like a Instagram, but it's closed. And since I had a lot of sexy pictures and stuff like this, I
Mhm.
wanted. I used to take pictures in lingerie or penny suit and stuff like this, and
Mhm.
didn't feel comfortable to really share on Instagram, even though I have shared on Instagram
Mhm.
as a way of advertise the OnlyFans. So I
Mhm.
would do something safe for work, let's say,
Okay.
on
I'm
Instagram,
only vaguely
and then
familiar with
not
Instagram.
safe
I don't
for
know what the
work.
standards are like.
Sorry.
I'm only vaguely familiar with Instagram. I don't know what the community standards are like.
Yeah, Instagram is it's like Facebook, but more just pictures, more of a wall of pictures and
Okay.
videos. So the conversations come on the comments, but it's not posts with much of message.
Okay.
Yeah.
So OnlyFans and polyamory. So
So
imagine
the
that I were in
poly, yeah, the poly part of the OnlyFans, I would say
Mhm.
that there are couples and people on OnlyFans that are open, uh, that have open relationship, and they meet their clients that are there. And
Okay.
most of the girls that start making profiles were already like prostitutes or
Okay.
dance in clubs, and they want to sell extra service, so they put it for free, put some images or videos, and they sell extra content, or they
Right.
sometimes sell service, which,
They're using it as a marketing front for
yeah,
further monetization of sexual services of some
that's
nature.
right. But
Okay.
there's a lot of artists that would just share content that is exclusive, that instead of selling on Patreon, they would sell on OnlyFans. So their best fans
Mhm.
would go there and just get like private content or a
Mhm.
more personal encounter, have access to send messages straight to
Yeah,
the artist.
I can see that
The
being
other
valuable to
person,
people.
which I said I was subscribed to two guys. The other
Mhm.
person is Dave Smith, which I'm subscribed to his OnlyFans, and his OnlyFans has nothing.
Dave Dave
David
Smith?
Smith, he's a part of a problem host, libertarian host,
Okay.
and yeah, his content there is just exclusive content that he doesn't post on his YouTube channel.
Okay,
It's
but
nothing,
it's
nothing
not based
sexy,
it's
nothing
not
sexy.
s not sexual,
I
it's
would
just
like to see
content that
him on
maybe
the
is
sheets underwear. It would not be bad.
a
He's
little a little too incendiary for his main stuff? Is that the idea?
I think he's a little bit too conservative on that
Okay.
side. So he's like a married man who is like a little bit on like a pragmatic utilitarian side of religion, to be like, oh, I need to be like that man on the Bible that is like married and loyal and faithful, and I would never make like if they probably take naked pictures and post online, something like that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Are these
Just
3
that's
things
from
are these
what I
3
know.
things that we're talking about influencing each other? Are is OnlyFans and polyamory changing sexual values? Is sexual values influencing OnlyFans?
Well,
Is
I think
what's the
the OnlyFans is nothing more than just another thing that popped up, like social media,
Mhm.
with with the power to give to all people. That power that before was just from porn artists
Mm.
or
Mhm.
Playboy magazine or whatever sexy magazine.
Mhm.
Now anybody can just be sexy, post there or not, or make another exclusive content and sell over there.
Mhm.
Uh, I think there are personal trainers that sometimes are just selling lessons online
Sure.
over there.
Sure.
So the people that are more conservative think this is like a revolution that degenerates our society. But pornography, even pornography, some people think is like something evil and that should be
Oh,
banned.
yeah. The premiere from an hour ago, the guy's talking about the West overtaking Iran. one of the little sub points was how dangerous pornography is and how it affects your dopamine levels, and that's evil, and that's part of the taking over of Iran. And
Wow.
pornography is a tool for taking over Iran. Okay.
Well, I guess we have
Wonder
tons
how well
out
that works. Is that effective? Okay.
there. Well, if it was that, it would be easier.
Yeah. I've looked at heat maps of where some kinds of porn are looked at more, and it's like I see a big bloom in Pakistan. I see a big bloom in the Bible Belt in the U.S. On the heat map, and that's
Interesting.
does porn work to change? Oh, maybe. Cool.
No, I guess it's more of that myth. We've heard a lot of. We grew up listening to those myths being created and spread on mainstream media of uh, video game cause mass shooting stuff like that. You know.
Right. Associating two things together so that you can know that
Well,
you can have
pornography
a reason
always
to hate the one that
existed.
was
I
just
think
otherwise neutral.
I laugh because I see people trying to say, "Oh, because OnlyFans or porn." I was like, What? Which type of porn?" Because before the movies, before we could do all this
Mm-hmm.
in movies, in television, and record and film, we
Mm-hmm.
would still do drawings and letters, and people would write erotic stuff. So this is something very human, the sexuality, the pornography, the vanity, and all the kink crazy shit that it's personal. It's we all different. Of course there's a lot of different things out there that we might cringe or like or whatever depending on the person, and we always consume pornography in some way, and I guess prostitution might be some of the oldest professions in the planet. Like which I would not uh, consider myself doing because I love the pleasure of sex and I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to make that a job, a duty and a
Getting paid
dirty,
for like
because that job
investment.
only has some unpleasant part. And I imagine that the pornography, the prostitution, for example, uh, it's something that maybe now with a lot of liberation of the sex of a woman in even slower than for the men it happens, so prostitutes might be able to say no when they don't want. But I imagine that is a something that destroys the experience.
Mm.
So I wouldn't do myself, but I always wanted to kind of pose something naked.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have Playboy in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
I remember as a teenager to think of like, oh, I wanted to have bigger tits. I have
Yes.
the small boobies. So I wanted to have big tits just to be able to pose on Playboy one day. And I was like, I will never have a chance because, you know, only if I put implants. And I have thought about that during the time I was in med school. And when I had the, let's say, the chance of asking my father to, like, I will want to go through a plastic surgery like all the girls were doing the end of med school for the
Mm-hmm.
graduation. I was like, I don't think I want to go through a surgery, the risk of a surgery for some static shit. So things change. I feel like even the time when I decided to do the OnlyFans was a little bit of that personal development, that personal seeking and finding like challenges and stuff that you feel like it remain to do before you die, something like
Mm-hmm.
this. So
Okay.
I was no, I'm going to do my sexy content while I'm still, you
Yeah.
know, defeating gravity. Let's say.
Okay. Okay.
And
So has pregnancy changed your breasts?
oh yeah, no, they get immense.
Okay.
They,
So
they grew
pregnancy
from
is
the first pregnancy. The
uh-huh.
first pregnancy, they grew, yeah, bigger. When I immediately had the gave birth,
Hmm.
and you start producing milk, it looks just like you came out of an implant surgery.
Yeah.
It's so swollen and hard, and it's like whoa. And yeah, Nat, my husband, would always say like, "Oh my gosh, it looks like you put implants."
Hmm.
Goes back to normal, almost normal, of course. Aging and
Yeah.
the
You can tell them
accumulated weight.
it's your fault. You implanted.
Yeah, after you destroy, I can't just let it go anymore. No, I've
Yeah,
told
yeah,
you
and you
once,
have to do it
if
more
you want
often
to
if you
divorce
want the
me, you
bigger
do it
because it adds
early.
up.
You do it while I'm early, while I'm still young, and I can find another husband. Don't wait for me to all fall and then you divorce me.
Huh?
That sexual value thing.
Okay,
We have to
so
be
now we're talking about
realistic.
sexual value in terms of
Oh
your
yes,
value to other people,
yes.
sexually, which
Oh, but
is
the
different than
sexual value is always about that. It's always about how much the other people would give for you, right? The
okay,
idea of like to keep your sexual values, keep pretty, keep nice, keep clean, exercise, all
okay,
these things are positive for you. So you can choose the other side, because what it would be the conflict that exists is that everybody wants to choose their partners, and they never not necessarily going to be the ones picked by the ones they picked.
yeah, yeah,
Sometimes you end up on the incel category of like, well, I wanted just one and I can't get none, which is more compatible with
Quinn
human
asks,
nature between mono and polyamory. Well, uh let's say I think they both are compatible. I don't think there is more compatible. I think we have seen a lot of people being super happy in tribal polyamory relationships,
hmm,
living societies, the same way as our lives nowadays. I would say more of a monogamic. But if
yeah,
you go to Middle East, it's not going to be monogamic anymore, and people seem to be happy there too. So I think
yeah,
it's just like that thing personal. That's why it should not be demanded or regulated by
okay,
government. That should be a contract that you can do in between two, three, or 10 people if you want.
yeah,
If all consent, all adults consenting with no coercion, I don't see why the government has to stand in the middle and say like, you guys cannot do this contract. No, not for this transaction.
right, right. Um, okay, the closest answer that I would have for the human nature question comes if I try to look at human nature and just broaden it out to apes. Now I look and see that for the most part, apes that are not very different between the genders uh, uh, interact differently than those that there's a big sexual dimorphism. If the males are really big and the females are really small, you end up with the Abrahamic, one male, multiple females, and a big competition between the males, big canines and things like that, orangutans, gorillas. And then I look at bonobos on the other side, where the females are actually bigger, and the polyamory is all over the place. Very polyamorous.
Because the truth, Dali, is that if the word was more uh, feminine, let's say, not
Okay.
matriarchal or patriarchal, then would be more realistic of the sense that a woman need more than one man. In reality, that is the issue,
Okay.
and we tend to think that men need more women, and men need more sexual partners, but
Oh,
women need more partners.
okay. Okay. So, cool. Cool. Who- so in this case, you're saying women have a greater need for general partnership, and sex is potentially optional in those partnerships, but the partnerships are really critical. Whereas men have more need for a variety of sexual partners, but have less need for partnership overall.
Yeah, if you want to put in a
Yeah.
In that sense, I think it would be correct, not be
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah.
Well, and I'm a woman today, because I fall clearly in the other category, where I'm relatively satisfied with a small number of sexual partners, but as far as intimate partnerships and careful working together of people, that's where I thrive. Uh,
Well, it's not necessary that those things are going to be attached together. It could be that some people have the both high. It's more,
yeah.
it's something more of personality when it
Mhm,
comes to the partners, and something more about the libido and
mhm,
sexuality when it comes to these sexual partners, and which is very related or intrinsically and almost exclusively related to testosterone. That's why we have
mm,
the pattern to have men to be the group that has more of this sexual uh, partner need to have to need more sex than woman,
mhm,
you
mhm,
know, and woman need more, would not need so much sex, but still need that friends. Some people just say, like, some girls and most many women nowadays, I see a lot of this need of the sisterhood, just like men need brotherhood, but
mhm,
more, and putting that as the first and only thing they need, which I think it's mistaken. I don't know, but
mm,
I really like sex and I really need a lot. So I guess that it would be like, I'm not a good example for what I hear from most of the women that I have encountered and talked about
mhm,
this. It's usually women saying, I need sex once a month, and guys saying, like, oh, I need sex every day, maybe more than once a day. And I say,
mhm,
I'm more on the man category now, you know?
mhm,
So,
mhm, mhm. Uh,
uh, Jason
I
is asking if do you see any value in monogamy? Of course, I do. I think the people that feel monogamic, that's an interesting conversation, because with my best, I only have three best girlfriends, and
mhm,
we've talked about this in the sense of mm, uh, having different uh, status of relationship in the group. So there are girls that are single, there are girls that are, there is one that is divorced, there's one that's married just like me, and we were in different phases when talking about polyamory.
mhm.
And some really came to the conclusion of, like, I think it's kind of fascinating polyamory, but I still want to be monogamic. I want one person just for me. And I think that is the value in monogamy. I think the monogamy is that complicity, is that completely give yourself to that one person no matter what, have the ups and downs.
Mhm.
But that can exist in polyamory, and people have different
Yeah.
relationships, different needs, different dynamics, which one thing doesn't exclude the other. It's just the idea that monogamy is perfect or polyamory is perfect. That is probably the mistake, because, like we said, some people really want to have that one person, and other people need more people,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The strength and the glue in a relationship is really, really important to people. In poly relationships, often the terms primary, secondary, tertiary are put in place. The primary person's the person you interact with every day. Your life would be different within a day if they were gone. Secondary would be like a week, and tertiary would be like on the scale of seasons or years. Uh, just to put a fuzzy definition on it. And very much there's a notion that if you have secondaries or extras, you will be taking away something that's important in the glue of your primary relationships. And if that's the case, monogamy has significant benefits. Uh, I think I think monogamy um, helps make sure that children have parents. I think monogamy also, if it's held rigidly, helps ensure children fail to have two parents, because just look at any relationships that break up because of a violation of monogamy, and suddenly if there's kids, now you have a single parent, at least for a while, till you get another one, maybe, if serial monogamy is the mode. um so in my family, the strength of our bond with each other is very high, and is somewhat independent of the sex question. Um, and that's how we operate and how we're written. But I think we're atypical.
Well, I would say that I, besides seeing the value in monogamy and all that, uh, you know, it's something, uh,
Mhm.
virtues to have, to be loyal and faithful and have just that one partner. It's not what happens in reality.
Mhm.
For a lot, maybe probably half of the couples that are in monogamy. So, in in some sense, I think the idea that we are liberating ourselves to be more accepting of
Mhm.
the difference, and people being more liberating to themselves to say, no, I'm in an open relationship, or I talk to my partner and we are happier now in this way. It's something better and probably much more full of complicity and loyalty, and and to be not necessarily faithful, to not just be one to one relationship, but to not be cheating, because so many people in monogamy are just cheating,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that is something that always annoyed me. uh, at least in the culture in Brazil, everybody's very religious and everybody is monogamic and everybody's cheating in name of God,
Okay.
because of the promise they made there. Some.
Okay. Yeah. So the question of cheating, I've read some statistics. I'm not sure if I can source them or if I should trust them. That something like 30% of paternity tests show up that who they thought was their father wasn't.
Wow, that's
So
very high.
that's that's a substantial amount of cheating. I can't say.
I,
I'm not sure if I
I
can know
thought
how
I
much
read
that is, but
once,
that's a lot.
long ago, 40% of the couples end up cheating and divorcing for that reason. So
Ooh,
it's a little high. It's quite of a high fail if half of the couples,
yeah,
almost half of them are got discovered and divorced because of that.
yeah.
Imagine how many are the ones that have not even discovered. So there's more than that, is what I imagine.
It's like
More
using plastic explosive for the glue. It works really well, except for that once in which it just
than
blows shit apart because there was something tied to it. If you don't mind, I'd love to end on a cost benefit ratio of OnlyFans. I'd like to understand over your experience with OnlyFans, which is like what, 2 years now? Something you started like I don't know.
uh 2 years. I started in September
Mhm.
2020, 19.
Okay. Yeah. So,
Yeah, 2 to 3 years, I think.
yep. Yep. So, well, that would be 25 months, just over 2 years. Um, in round months. Anyway, over that time, you talked about some benefits that you said, one of them was some money. Okay.
Yeah,
The next would be, some advantage of having remote boyfriends that, give you positive feedback in the sense that you're not in physical contact with them, but they are at a distance and you're still appreciating the, validations that you get
yeah,
from that. So that's a benefit. Uh, there was that you liked to do these kinds of pictures before you did OnlyFans, and so it gave you an outlet for those. I assume that's under the benefit category.
yeah.
Can you think of other benefits? And then after, can you think of costs and things that have happened?
Another benefit, I think I really helped a lot of people there too. I end up becoming on my own fans more of a book club. So I would read. Of course, I would do most of the thing live streams naked, but sometimes it was just reading
Mhm,
books and talking about books because it's something that
mhm.
quite. Oh, speaking of it, let's show the new
Oh,
ones.
the books, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
I
some
told you
some
I'm trying to
banned
get the
books or
books,
potentially banned books.
potentially banned books I want to have in my library. So yeah,
Indeed,
just
indeed.
got them. So
Uh,
happy.
I have not yet read the Salman Rushdie one. It's been on
There are
my
so
potential list.
many
I've
of
got
his
I've got
books.
like 6 books right now sitting on my shelf that haven't been cracked yet, because I haven't had the bandwidth to jump into them. So I don't want to add anything to my stack
I
until
need to go through.
yeah.
So yeah, in the sense of the audience, well, I was talking about how you would do is just morning coffee, naked morning coffee. So just talking about stuff that I'm planning, conversations I'm gonna have, books, general ideas, that I would have, and end up really having this one-on-one chat with a lot of people, which we would go to Discord, and that is the fun part. I kind of like I'm shy to like I'm an exhibitionist in the sense of like I like taking the pictures and
Mhm.
videos and sharing there, but not have the live interaction at that for people to demand or ask me to do stuff. I didn't want to perform. I
Okay.
wanted to do
You
something
don't
that
like to be a puppet.
share
You're
whatever I would do naturally. Let's say
uh-huh.
the only
Okay.
going out of my comfort zone would be to record it or to take pictures of it. So, but I like to, like you said, I love chatting with people, and I was totally open. So I made a lot of friends to go to Discord or video call people and meeting people in person, know their names, family stuff,
Mhm.
personal stuff, or why they were there. And usually, it's someone that needs some love, right? It's like,
Mhm.
or from wife or girlfriend, or for not having anybody.
Yeah.
And so I believe, and I had a lot of that feedback of a lot of people saying that I helped them became friends and help them go get out of that hole that they were
Mm.
at that moment, of feeling unappreciated or down or some way left alone or having too much to go through and not having a partner to be there for their needs in some
Mhm.
way. Sometimes it's just like some business person that works a lot, comes home and has a bitchy wife, something like that, and is there because of the kids. So I've had a lot of this type of interaction, which is very human, and it's
Mhm.
the way that I think we operate to help each other. And I
Yeah.
felt that the feedback very positive would be one of the things that I would like to share when I hear people just bashing on the OnlyFans and talking about how it's just
Right.
degeneracy, and there is a lot of that work which I would not call life coach or anything like official, but it's a type of help. It's a type of a connection with other people,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, have there been costs in doing this? Have you've gotten maybe some social pressure and people taking you less seriously, or
I felt down. I would say that the only bad times would be something that you might experience in any profession or in any situation dealing with people and money. It's of course scammers had
yeah.
happened, and I would say that was some loss that I wouldn't expect, and kind of put me down when it happened, demotivated me a bit. But I haven't been like not being paid, even working for people locally, cleaning house or doing some type of work here and not getting paid. So and that is something that really puts a person down, and I would say, yeah, in any sense, doesn't matter which profession, which service you do, and
But
someone doesn't pay you for it, it's just feels that punch, that stab on the back, something like that.
yeah, yeah. If I walked in expecting to get paid and I didn't, that would be the last time for
Yeah.
me. Pretty much that would be. Oh no, I'm not going to do this again. Mm-mm. Not unless we're doing this under a different arrangement. And the last arrangement didn't work out. Um,
But I have had experience that even as being a doctor. Okay, that's
sure.
why I think it's not something exclusive from OnlyFans. I have been a doctor, not paid by hospitals or by clients in the office, and it's just something that is negative, I guess, professionally speaking. No
Yeah,
matter what you do.
And then you
Uh,
get friends from
the
America who want to just do shows to ask you medical questions. Yeah. Thank you for that. Helps a lot.
the the other thing I would say that is a little not negative, but it feels it's a it's a type of issue somehow you have to go through psychologically speaking. I would say when you have that pressure of a family or friends saying don't do it, or you're gonna regret, or you should not do this, in different levels, from family members that would be too authoritarian in their
Yeah.
demanding to really like go there and delete it. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, of course not. But even to have to go through the conversation sometimes and the discussion of, wait a minute, I'm the owner of my own body, right?
Yep.
And I understand your concerns and appreciate, but you should give as an opinion, not as a demand and
Yeah.
judgment in general. But
You're
I,
just not willing to put up with demands like that. I think that's your politics.
yeah, and I'm I would say that is probably one of the downs or one of the pressures that you feel
Hmm.
on being on OnlyFans, this general social judgment. But uh, personal choice, I think we are free to do things, and people are gonna. We can control what we do and how we feel about people's reactions, but we cannot control people's reactions. So it's
Mm.
just sort of something natural too, that I would say it's things you have to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Has there been blowback inside your own family from it?
Uh, so if anybody from my family
Like,
said
does
anything,
he have regrets?
oh, no, I would say which level you mean?
I just mean in terms of the cost of doing this. If this were tough on your husband, that would be a different that would be a cost.
Oh, well, I would say that it might have been a cost. I
Mhm.
still think of mainly when I think I didn't need to do.
Mm.
So I did, and it has cost him for sure something,
Mm.
not on the feelings, and that is probably part of the that others people's reactions and expectations that you have to deal psychologically of
Okay. So for
you.
him, I'm hearing it's
In
mostly
the end,
about
in
the
the
effect
end,
of
I
other
had to
people.
put my feelings or my will over other people's
Mhm.
feelings and wills, and of course, it was hard. I think in all men of the family close, that they
Yeah.
feel like it's fine. I know there are playboys and porn and stuff there. I just don't want you, my daughter, my sister,
Yeah.
my wife,
Not
to
in
do
my backyard, not in my family. Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that. So, uh, out of format, I wanna end up on hypotheticals. So, let me try this one on. I'm gonna ask both directions. What could you learn tomorrow that would make you more sure that you did the right thing and you're doing the right thing with OnlyFans?
Hmm, difficult to predict, huh? um Probably just keep having a good feedback, getting more people, having people
Okay.
there, in some way. And of course, I have not posted much more recently. So I think it's difficult because it's very, the work there is more related to how much you advertise, how much you put out there, and then people will come to pick over and see what you're doing.
Yeah.
I have good loyal fans, I would say,
Mm.
that don't quit, and they make me keep going. And we have
Mm.
uh, I have some that have contact enough to talk chat about subjects like, which, like I mentioned, not sexual subject, but I'm always in the politics and philosophy. So there's just infinite amount of subjects to chat with people, and people willing to talk. to no to other people.
So I'm hearing continued feedback from a loyal viewership base would be very motivating.
Yeah, it's something that's motivating, that makes the system going, I guess.
Excellent. So now the hypothetical the other direction. What could you learn, sudden new information that makes you think, oh, the OnlyFans was a bad choice?
Mm. Well, I think the fact that already feared, and I think I mentioned that in another conversation we had, was professionally speaking,
Mm-hmm.
that if that is a negative point at some point one day, to not be able to get a job, or to be seen as like, oh my gosh, you were like that doctor that had an OnlyFans, which might happen, which could happen,
What
not
happened?
necessarily open, nobody
Yeah.
speak that, but definitely refuse me a job because of that, something like
Okay.
that. I
Okay.
don't know.
Good. Good information.
It's a
Okay.
simple one to think, I guess.
It's a simple one. Yeah, but that's the good obvious hypothetical is a good one to consider. We don't want to just throw it away because it's easy or low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess it's easy to happen even if it's not spoken.
Thank you, Fanny. I've enjoyed this conversation. Probably see you next week on another topic, and
Sure.
I'll
Always,
see you later if I do the wave
always
thing. That
pleasure.
might do